Hi everyone. Today what we are going to say is how can we create the Helm releases of APIConnect, MQ, um, EventStreams, Ace dashboard, like the components of integration, Cloud Pack for integration version 2020.1.1 using a kind of automation scripts. So before we go deeper, I just wanted to, you know, wish everyone to stay safe and healthy because I'm recording this during this pandemic situation. So again, I wish everyone to stay safe and stay healthy. So let's move on. Today, the agenda I would like to cover is quick overview about what are we going to talk in this particular session. Then what is that asset that I've created? It's about the asset that I've created. For you to proceed further with the asset, what are the prerequisites that you need to meet? And before you go and create the Helm releases of the CP4I components, things to remember. So this is the broad agenda that I have. Let me go to the overview. In the overview, as I mentioned earlier, I have written a shell script. I would call that as an asset going forward. It is a shell script asset. Using that, how can you automate the Helm releases creation of or instance creation of Cloud Pack for integration? So if you look at that list, APIC, AppConnect dashboard, Ace dashboard, Ace designer, MQ, data power, EventStreams, AssetRepository Tracing, all the products except Aspera because Aspera requires a license. Hence, I'm not going to cover in this. So now about the asset, as I mentioned, it is a shell script. And the purpose of the asset is to create the Helm releases of all the components except Aspera. I would consider the complexity of the asset is just as simple to consume. It's not a rocket science. It's just a simple shell script. You can clearly understand what has been written. Is it available public? Yes, it is, and I've already put it in a GitHub. So I've given the URL. You can go and clone it and start consuming it. Moving on to the prerequisite at the high level, yes, certainly. This asset would assume you have an IBM cloud account and you have enough credits to go and create an Openshift cluster, which is 4.3, and then install Cloud Pack for integration version 2020.1.1 is deployed on the Kubernetes cluster that you have already created. So this is the first main prerequisite before you think of moving on with this particular asset. So if you do not have IBM Cloud account or if you do not have Cloud Pack for integration up and running on IBM Cloud, please do not proceed further. So ensure you have these things in place before you come and start using this. So if you have these two, then you can start proceed with setting up the required command line interfaces tools like IBM Cloud CLI, IBM Cloud Pack CLI. Normally we call it as a Cloud CTL or Cloud CUTL, whatever. Then we have to have a Helm CLI, then certainly OC, Openshift CLI. So this has to be installed and configured in the client machine where we are going to run the scripts. And obviously, when you have IBM Cloud account, you have to have an API key for, you don't need to provide username and password. Hence, you have to have a API key of your account. Then some key information which is required for the scripts to work properly, like your Openshift cluster name, cluster ID, right, some ingress subdomain. We'll see those in details, but at the high level, this is the prerequisite. Again, I reiterate: if you do not have IBM Cloud account, or if you do not have IBM Cloud Platform integration installed on IBM Cloud, please do not progress with this. It's just a waste of time. So, you know, things to remember. This is very important. There are certain products where you cannot install like as and when you require it. These are all highly resource intensive, like APIConnect, tracing, EventStreams. Like in fact, Aspera and all these are all resource intensive products. So avoid creating multiple Helm releases. It's better to have only one instances, uh, you know, um, for you to consume it. I said avoid creating. But if you ask, can I create? It is up to the underlying infrastructure. If you have so much of worker nodes running, and if you have a lot of compute, if you have a lot of storage, memory, RAM, maybe you can do that. But even if you try to do that, do not attempt to create in the same namespace. Do not try to create two releases of APIConnect in the same namespace. Likewise, here's dashboard. One such thing is tracing. It will screw up your other existing working instances. So don't do that. And another point I would like to make is, it is a choice that you need to make. Like when you install Cloud Pak for integration, out of the box you get to see the namespaces like ACE, MQ, EventStreams, APIC. So these are all the out of the box namespaces created by the installer. But can you make use of it? Certainly you can make use of it, but try to see whether you can adopt a different practice, creating the namespace of your choice, or maybe it could be it can give some meaningful name. Right, I have adopted one particular terminology in this particular video. If you look at it, you get to see, for example, when I'm creating API Connect instance, you get to see a namespace called an Z-APIC. So what is that Z-APIC? So in ERP terminology, especially SAP world, when you start customizing the SAP ERP according to your needs, just to differentiate the out-of-the-box components and the customized components, you prefix something called Z, and you copy the existing one and then changing. You can add some prefix. So I just adopted that practice. Um, you know, I've created Z-ES, Z-APIC, something like that. So it is not hard and fast rule that you need to adopt. It is something that you can decide whether to use it or not use it. Then I'm going to show what has to be done to consume this asset. Let's see what we can do. Okay, as I mentioned, this is a shell script, and I've already published in the GitHub, and you can see it in the GitHub. You get to see, there are directories like setup, starts with setup, and is dashboard APIC, and whatever I have done, I have written, it is there. Like if you look at it, you get to see it's a list. Maybe I'm still working on stateful, but it's not a hard and fast to think is it so difficult or not? It's not that. It's just a time that I need to complete it and publish it. But apart from this EventStreams stateful, um, I published everything. As I mentioned, Prerequisite, IBM Cloud Account, and IBM Cloud Pack for integration. Then the CLI tools. For you to set up the required CLI, you need to log in to your IBM Cloud, and then if you navigate to this, so maybe I can show you, in my cloud account. Um, just give me a minute. Okay, so I've logged into my cloud account, and let me show you the Openshift cluster that I've created. Okay, so I have this cluster up and running. I call it as cluster for CP4I. So when I open it, okay, so I just opened it. I have masked some information. If you look at it, ingress subdomain. Please make a note of this. Cluster ID, ingress subdomain. Right, when you are at this particular screen, say for example, you please note down this information. Okay, so the cluster this is what I was showing. You can note down your ingress subdomain and cluster ID. Then comes setting up the CLI. You have to be careful while doing this. Let me show you. You have to start with Openshift. If you follow this particular URL, you can the information that is available in this particular URL will help you to install Openshift. But what is the other way around? Let me show you that. In your cluster, if you go to the access, you get to see. So this is a single page which would help you to install the CLIs. This is the IBM Cloud CLIs and plugins for containers, etc. will be installed using this particular command. Then, for you to install the OpenShift's command line interface, when you click on this, it will take you to download site and search for 4.3, and I have used 4.3.10, so this is what I have used. So you can use any version, and 4.3 I believe it works. Okay, let's go look at it. What is the next step? So this anyway you have seen. This is I have extracted from the access page only. Then comes, how do I install the Cloud Kettle, kubectl, Helm? How do I do it? So if you look at it, if you have already installed the Cloud Pack for integration, this is the pattern that you need to follow. So you need to log into HTTPS ICP console and the ingress domain that we have taken it from here. Okay, so let me log into my ICP console. And it's ICP console, it is nothing but the foundation. IBM Cloud Pack Foundation, that's the right word to say. ICP to IBM Cloud Pack console. It is not the IBM Cloud Pack. So please make a note, it is IBM Cloud Pack Foundation. So let me log into it. When you try to log in, it will ask for a username, password. You should provide the username and the password that you have provided during the installation of Cloud Pack for integration. So when you log in, go to the avatar, configure client, Under the configure client, you get to see install CLI tools. Click on that, and it'll take you to the page or where you'll find, you know, Cloud Katalu, Cube Katalu help. So you need to install these first three and choose the operating system that you have. The moment you do so, it'll give you the curl command. You just execute in the command line and ensure you have a curl is installed in your system. So when you do so, it will install so complete installing this. So when you do so, you are almost done with your prerequisite. And also get the API key. You may wonder, how do I get the API key? So go to your cloud account, manage, go to the Access IAM. So if you go and click on the API keys, so the first one that you're seeing, that is the API key that I'm using. So likewise, you can go and create the API keys. Okay. I've given the URL. If you wanted to know how to create, how to create the API key for your account, you can use this URL to, find out how to create it. This is about getting the API key for your cloud account, and some key information that is required. So please note down the API key. It is you cannot, the moment you create, whoever is creating it, the account that you are accessing, it may be accessed by many folks, but whoever creating that API key only can see that. So he or she might have it. So if it is there, you just you ask your colleagues or friends, whoever is having access to the same account, get those API key. Otherwise, if you create it, I may ensure you share it secretly with the team, with the team who is having access to this. So you have to be very, very careful while dealing with the API key of your account. Coming back to what are the other key information is required for the scripts to work properly. As I mentioned, if you look at it, there are directories called common and IBM Cloud Access Detail. So if when you clone this particular directory or this asset, you get to see this shell script. There, I've clearly provide your IBM Cloud API key. So you remember the step that you follow to get that API key. You need to put it here. You take this, replace this, provide your IBM Cloud API key with your actual API key. Your cloud account, from where you can get the cloud account. If you go there, maybe currently I have put it. If you go down, so if you look at it, I have steps. So let's follow the steps instead of jumping here and there. So in the common setup global environment, you have to fill up this value. First, you need to know from where you get it. Openshift admin console. So for you to go to the Openshift admin console, you need to go to your Openshift cluster. Open the cluster, go to the access, open click on the Openshift web console. Okay, so the dashboard is coming. When it comes, you will see the cluster API address. So you need to copy this value, and then you need to replace the value of OC underscore server inside the setup global environment.sh. So under the common directory, you will see the setup global environment. So this is the value that you need to set, the value that you fetched from this dashboard. You set it in that script. This ingress subdomain, I already told you, in your cluster, if you go to the overview section, you will see that. Right? Maybe then comes only these two in this. Okay, so this is provide your 4 items. I'm sorry. So in this particular script, you have to provide, or maybe the best thing is search for provide your. That's the easiest way. I should have organized all the values to be provided by the user. I should have put it in the beginning of the file. That's okay. Yes, certainly you would have provided during the CP4I installation. You need to provide whatever that you have provided. And then the key part, entitlement key. So I've given the exam, instruction how to get this entitlement key. You may wonder, you know, what is the kind of entitlement that you will have. So better you log in to this library and then check. So I'm going to log into mine and show you. So it'll ask for your IBM ID, provide, and then continue. Okay, so I've logged into my ID, and I have my entitlement key. So purposely I have put a small text edit window to hide my entitlement key, just to you know tell you from where you can get it. So uh, if you have a permission or if you are privileged, I'm not sure what type of account that you have, but if you are entitled to have such a key, then certainly you will have it. And when you log in, um, you can get a new key or copy the existing key. So it depends. So this is the place where you get your entitlement key for your container software library. Then you may check for which library I have an access. Like Cloud Pack for integration is there, apps, automation. There are multiple cloud packs. This container software library. So for you to know for which cloud pack you have access, right? Let me show you that. So if you click on the view library, it will show you the IBM Software Access. For me, I'm an IBM. I get to see all, which means I have access to all container software library, but it may not be same for you. There are certain account where they have access to specific cloud pack only. So if you do not see cloud pack for integration, then you cannot use this methodology. Okay, so there's another glitch. So please be noted. So if you should see cloud pack for integration in the list, the drop down. So just because I'm an IBM, I have access to all. So be careful without seeing um, your without seeing the cloud pack for integration at all for your ID. Do not proceed. So the copy that entitlement key, the one from that entitlement page, and put it here. So in this particular script, you have to set up 4 values. OpenShift server API server address URL, OpenShift cluster subdomain, and the password, the one that you have used, and the entitlement key. So let's go back. So this is what we are talking about. So even in fact, I've given instruction from where to get it. So note down the ingress subdomain value from OCP cluster summary. So if you have followed the instruction clearly, you would have already noted it down. So that is what we need to put it here. Docker password, that's nothing but the entitlement key, the one that you get it from the container library, your entitlement key. So after this, you need to work on the other script. So IBM Cloud API key, you remember, in your cloud account, get into the manage identity access management. Then you can get the API key. So the instruction is provided here. You can follow this, or in the same video, if you rewind back, you will see from where you can get the API key. Cluster name, yes, whatever. This is the cluster name. That's it. So maximum of 6 values that you need to get it, because for the script to work. Post that, it's just a 2 value that is optional. So for example, let's start with APIConnect instances. For APIConnect instances, all you need to provide is that 2. So I don't want to, because this is the directory which contains the script, right? Create APIC instance.sh. Okay. So if for you to run the script, if you want to edit something, you need to edit only these 2 values, release name or the namespace. So you can change only these 2. Like I have followed that C API. See, I'm not using the out of the box. And the release name is APIC. So let me show you. So I'm going to create APIC instance. Just running it. So it tells you invalid input. Please provide dry run. So dry run, well, dry run is nothing but one of the parameters that you set while using the Helm release. What it does is, it is like it's just a dry run. It does not create any object actually on the server, but it tells you whether everything is going smooth without any error. So it's a kind of dry run. So you can do the dry run, or if you're confident, you can run it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run it. Okay, so let's see what happens. It does a lot of things, like it ensures that it logs in to the IBM cloud, and then it logs into your Openshift cluster, and it checks whether the namespace that you have provided it is there or not. If it is there, it makes use of it, or if it is not there, it creates, and then it sets the security context constraints. Then it creates the required secrets, like TLS and TLS secrets, or image space secrets. So it does a lot of things, and but all you need to provide is just to provide then if you want to provide the namespace or and the release name. So now I assume it's going on smooth. So let's see, get pods. Just wanted to check. Okay, so now you see just 27 seconds and it's in a pending state. Okay, but please make a note, APIConnect depends upon your infrastructure, speed. There are various factors. APIC minimum, bare minimum in IBM Cloud, it takes 20 to 30 minutes. Please do not go by this again, because in my instances it took almost 23, 4, 20 to 25 minutes. It depends, but but my point is APIConnect will not be completed in just 5 minutes or 10 minutes. Bare minimum it will take, somewhere close to 20 to 30 minutes. So you have to be patient, and you get to see all the pods are up and running. Okay, so let's see whether PVC is bounded or not. Okay, so the first PVC operator which is running to the operator running to create the components like management, gateway, analytics, and compute. So there's a long way to go, but the point is all you need to do is ensure the prerequisite done and just run the scripts. So the rest all will be taken care by the scripts. So you can go and analyze the scripts what I have written. It's a simple script, but at least I've taken the complexity out of you. So this is how you can create APIC. Similarly, I'm going to show how to create a tracing. So I've already cloned it. If you look at it, the screen that you're seeing, I've already cloned it. That's the reason I have. And I've set all the values, all the required values in the scripts. Okay, so now I'm going to go cd setup tracing. Okay. Just to ensure, because I told you I always use Z tracing. So C project Z tracing. C get all. I'm just checking this particular namespaces. It does not contain anything. Okay. What do we do? Create tracing instance. Just run it. It tells either you provide dry run or run. So, but I am confident that it will run in my instance. But for you, do a dry run, ensure everything is validated, checked, and then run it. I'm going to run the tracing. So as I said, it's a script, and it is proceeding with whatever it's supposed to. Just wait for it to create a release. Okay, just press enter. You should get pods. So now it'll have take some time, and it requires storage. So get PVC, still in pending state. So see that pods. Meantime, we look at APIC. Okay, so there it is going good. Running. Just get pods from tracing. Okay, so current the video, I have shown you how to create, how to set up the prerequisite, and how easy it is to create the Helm releases of some of the key products. But where will you see whether it is up and down? So one way to look at it, you know, command line. Let me open up the navigator. So if you look at it, I have APIConnect, which shows 13 minutes it's running, but until all the parts comes up, you cannot consume it. So please make a note. I've created all the except the SaaS product. I've created all the products using the scripts that I've created. Okay. So I hope you can make use of the scripts to automate some of the Helm releases creations of cloud platform integration with companies. And please make sure this is only for some POCs or self-skilling POPs. Do not consider this asset for any production automation, please. So with this, I would like to thank everyone who has taken the time out to watch this video. And again, I request all of you to stay safe and stay healthy. Thank you so much.